This is Hot Mike.
Hot Mike.
On the networks of WDAY.
WDAY.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Welcome back, everybody. Friday morning rolls on. Final hour of the week. We'll head to Wisconsin, chat some football coming up here in about 20 minutes. I mentioned off the top, it is a great sports weekend. We got the Walleye opener set to go here in about 14 hours. The Redhawks open up their season tonight. And also for race fans, it's a big night tonight out in West Fargo. Red River Valley Speedway gets ready for some drop the flag, green flag for some racing tonight. Another year out in West Fargo. It's become a yearly tradition on our show to have our next guest join us, a guy who runs Red River Valley Speedway. Nick Skalicky joins us here on a Friday morning. The sun's out. You got your shades on. You already got to be smiling already with the weather forecast.
Yeah, no, this is beautiful. I was just joking with you a little bit ago. 10 years ago, it was snowing and 30 degrees, so we're good. We'll take this.
Describe the anticipation for tonight. You've been doing this for a bit, but are the nerves, butterflies you still have for opening night?
No, that kind of goes away because you never stop doing this. When the season ends, we're already thinking a year in advance all the time. So you never really get a breather. It's like any other sport, so it's constant. But no, this is, to me, for the racer to win the opener is like winning the Daytona 500. They want to set the standard right off the bat. So you're going to see some pretty fun racing tonight. So
for people coming out, Nick, anything noticeably different about the track or any changes you had from last year to get ready for tonight?
No, we're just sticking with what we've been doing. Our crowd attendance has been going up every year. We get more and more kids out here every year, that's exactly what we want to see. Yeah. We want to see families, and that's what we've pushed from day one. So we're giving away a couple bikes tonight. We got a candy toss for the kids. We got 50-50 for the gamblers, and yeah, it should be a good night.
Describe you mentioned this, the preparation, the planning for this. Does this start right when the last race is done in August, that we're right back getting ready for 2025?
Yeah, we barely take a month off, and then we start right back at it. We'll get our dates for next year about mid-season with Cody and Brett, the two managers out here, just so we can move forward. And then we'll see what the Outlaws decide in August, if they're giving us 2 dates or 1 date next year. That's up to them, I guess, in their schedules. So we'll see, but we're pretty ecstatic. This will be our first year we've had 2 World of Outlaws sprint car dates.
I wanted to ask you about that. So May 31st and August 23rd, how much are you involved in that? And are you basically at their will? Hey, we'd like to come twice.
No, it's another promoter that comes in, and Scott Boyd does a great job. And he's known us, from the first time they were here 9 years ago. So, we just keep asking and we keep asking. And now finally, we're getting that opportunity this year. So, and I think, we've proved to ourselves, and the crowd attendances went up every year for that event, because it's just a whole different animal when that comes to town, compared to our Friday night stuff.
Well, and to get them twice over, you guys got to just be over the moon on that.
Well, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be a good time. And, we're just, we're hoping that the fans come and enjoy it, and take that opportunity to support it. And if the crowd attendance is there, I don't see no reason you wouldn't come back.
Well, and I was wondering too, because normally you guys get them in August. To have them in May when you don't have the football distractions or anything like that, that's prime race season at the end of May. That could be really big for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in August, the farmers are starting to take the crops off, so that that affects it. But our August attendance has always been good. Every year it goes up, and it drives the economy, drives a lot of it too. It all depends on what's going on with that.
So tonight, describe, it's open. You were visiting off air. You're going to have over 100 cars there tonight. I mean, and that the always thing you and I have talked about as well is getting people out of there. We want to come, but we don't want to stay forever. So how do you balance that when you want people to come and you want drivers to come, but you don't want to take forever?
Well, what we implemented, I think, it's probably been 2-3 years now. What we do in the heats, if you cause a yellow, you're basically done. You go to the pits. And that speeds up the show. We're not doing the 3 yellows. When we get to the features, we do the 3 yellows again, because you got a lot more cars out there. Yep. And then the other thing we do is we have 6 classes of cars. So we do 3 features back to back, and then we bring all 3 of those winners up for victory lane. We don't do one at a time, because then that delays,
right.
That actually delays the show another 20 some minutes. So it's all about the speed, and the drivers need their limelight. But at the end of the day, the fans are here to watch racing. So
How have you noticed other tracks maybe copying that you guys are moving? You're getting people out of there that they're picking your brain on. Hey, how are you doing that?
Yes, some do and some don't. I mean, the racers, some of them don't like that one and done yellow deal, but at the end of the day, I used to race myself back
Yeah.
in the day, and if you can't get through a heat race with 6 or 8 cars and not have a yellow, then maybe you shouldn't be out there.
Yeah.
I guess I hate to say that, but it's at the end of the day, the fans are what they're paying the bills, so you got to give them what they want too.
To have over 100 cars tonight, what goes through your mind when I say that to you?
I think 3 years ago, if you would have told me that, because I think we were in the 80s, barely pushing 90, and now I think the last 2 years we've been over 100. So it's kind of the norm now. The legend classes are by far our biggest class, and there's about 35 of them, and that gets a little chaotic, and we got a lot of younger kids in there, and it's kind of funny that it's hard for some of them to make the A main, and when they do it, it's like winning the Daytona 500 to them. They're like, hey, I made the show tonight. I made the show, and I'm like, okay, now let's see what you do with that. So it's pretty neat. But you're dealing with 12, 13, 14-year-old kids competing against adults, so it's a pretty neat deal.
What's the youngest kid you can remember out there driving?
About 12 years old is the youngest they can
Wow.
start, and that's in a legend car. And those cars are a handful at times. And if the track has traction, I mean they're pushing 80 mile an hour. So
That's wild.
that's pretty. It's crazy they can race, but they can't drive on the streets.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. At 12 years old, holy cow!
Yeah.
7 o'clock tonight. What's in store? What do you got? If people want to come out tonight, what are they gonna see?
Oh, just be here. Be here by 7, because we religiously drop that first green is going at 7. We don't push it back or nothing. We did our test and tune on Wednesday, so we got all our bugs and kinks worked out. So we'll be ready to go. So just come a little bit early. We have a meet and greet tonight with the legend cars, actually from 6:30 to 7.
Nice.
So if you have kids and you want to meet the drivers right up in Victory Lane, bring them out, by 6:30, and they can get driver cards. And a lot of the drivers give away trinkets, candy, stuff like that, or little stuff to the kids. So if they want to come out and enjoy that too. And then 7 o'clock or 6:58, we do the anthem, and then we start racing.
That's fantastic. Give us the lowdown on the track. You can even show us if you want on your phone. How's it looking? How are we looking out there?
I think we're fine.
There you go.
We tested on Wednesday, and yeah, we're pretty much dialed in. So we'll start watering here shortly, and the cloud cover helps. I don't know. I'll have to look in my phone. I mean, if we have cloud cover, it'll be perfect, because then the sun won't evaporate it so much and gives it a chance to soak in. But like I said, we've done this long enough. We'll counter whatever Mother Nature deals us.
I was gonna say you were joking when we started about dealing with snow. I mean, you're gonna have people with suntan lotion tonight. It's gonna be 75, 80 degrees tonight.
Yeah, I got to put my big hat on. I'm already getting red already myself. So
I got to ask.
Yeah, it's good time. So
if I would have told you'd be doing this 10 years when you started, now 10 years on, would you have believed me? Would you have thought you'd be in this for the long haul?
No, I think me and my 2 partners, a husband and wife, I mean, we kind of had a 5-year plan when we started, but I mean, it's went quick. I mean, it's just crazy how fast it goes year after year.
Yeah.
And now at the end, I mean, it's going to be a big year for us having 2 World of Outlaw sprint car dates. That's going to be a game changer. And I hope that we can continue in 26 doing the same thing.
When COVID happened, Nick, how scary was that? Think that maybe this, are we going to survive? We get through it. And now to be on the back end of it, have the kind of success you're having now 4 or 5 years later.
COVID was a weird deal, because we didn't really know, because a lot of things got shut down.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we started calling and asking, and I guess we had enough room to keep everybody, separated
Safe.
and stuff. So then they allowed us to do it, and it actually worked out really well. A lot of people attended, and because there's really nothing going on, which to us was kind of a weird deal. Why is it okay, but it's not okay for other things? So, I mean, it worked out for us, and there's still pieces of tape on every other road, because that's what we did back then. But some of it's gone now. But yeah, that could have been very detrimental to us, having a year off. So, but it worked out in the ends. And then like that, I think that particular year, the World of Outlaw late models come that year also here. But now it's that show got moved to Ada just because of the fair logistics. And once the World of Outlaws pick a schedule, they won't really deviate off what you're doing on your grounds. So we ended up moving that show to Ada last year, and then it'll be there again this year. So that's a pretty neat deal for that little town too.
Got racing starting tonight and almost every Friday up until right about when the fair gets going out in West Fargo and then wraps up August 29th. I'm interested for. Do you actually get to watch any of the racing on like tonight? Or are you busy doing 8 million different things?
No, I usually sit in the middle. I sit on the back stretch, and that's kind of my duty to make calls back there. But 99% of the time, nothing happens right there. It's always in the corners or the front stretches where the calamities happen. But and if there's something going on in the pits, they'll radio me and I'll buzz back there or whatever. But we have enough staff in the middle, so if I leave or Jake has to leave or whatever, my other partner, then the show goes on here regardless. So.
Have you ever had a finish where it was like you couldn't tell who won? Like a nail, we do not have a clear cut winner here.
Yeah, and so we actually have a computer scoring loop, and each car has a transponder on it. So it basically boils down to which transponder gets to that line first. So we've had probably, I bet you, a half dozen finishes. The people in the booth are like, wow, who just won that? And all you do is look at the computer, and there it is. The computer doesn't lie. Now, from a racer standpoint, could he put his transponder farther ahead? Yeah. So we check that. That's what the tech is for. But racers don't do that, but he could.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he could have that 5-foot advantage, but they don't. They know better to do that because it's too obvious to check that. So
that's good stuff. I really appreciate you doing this, bud. It's a yearly tradition that we get to visit. Have a great night tonight. I'm so glad the weather's going to work, and we'll catch up when the World Outlaws comes around. Okay?
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you for your time.
Nick Skalicky joining us. Red River Valley Speedway drops the green flag tonight, 7:00 out in West Fargo. My years of covering it, it's fantastic. The racing's normally really good, and normally the crowd is fantastic. And since Nick and his ownership group took over, as he said, 10 years ago, which is crazy. I remember doing the story when we were out there. They have really built it up into something that's really impressive, and it'll be fun out there. And heck, the weather's going to be, if you want to go to baseball, you can. If you got racing, if you're going out on the boat, you got no excuse to be indoors over the next couple days. It's going to be beautiful to get out there and enjoy it. Appreciate his time. We'll break. We come back. We're going to chat some football. Bison Nag, one of the best high school football players out of the state of Wisconsin. His head coach, Jordan Hansen, will join us to chat about Kobe Russell. That's him right there. We come back right after this.